So, we are going to actually do today's session around building our own brand. And when I say a brand, it doesn't only refers to a group or a community or an organization, but every institution, every entity, every person could create their own brand. And when I say every person, I mean the character of the person, the personal's personality, and therefore the character is reflected as a matter of externalization through a brand in the eye of the person. So, for example, when we refer to any specific segment or field in our lives, we have certain tall men who refers to as a brand by themselves. For instance, we don't have to go to the past times, but recently, when we sort of discuss and talk about Mr. Modi, who is our prime minister and one of the finest leaders that India had seen so far, he himself is a big brand, right? So when I say a big brand, that means people believe, people sort of share a lot of sentiments with that person. And therefore, all this happens right at the start, at the beginning, or the core of how a brand is initiated in the minds of people by you as a person. And we are going to discuss about very specifically different aspects which are related to the brand insights. Okay. So we will first of all go with the concept of how a brand is realized first and what is a brand. A lot of people consider, brand as something which is going to be, uh, you know, as a push factor. So there are two important factors that we are going to discuss. So push factor means I am trying to market myself, I am trying to showcase myself, I'm trying to build that kind of an aura which is generally influenced or forcibly created by either money, authority, power, or something which is beyond the capacity of a normal person, right? That could be money, that could be power, that could be uh, something which is an outcome of these factors, right? Maybe, when you are posting a Facebook picture, you wanted to stand in front of a vehicle which is worth 2 crore rupees. So you wanted to showcase, okay, so this is where I associate myself and I'm bigger than you. Now, this is a push factor where we are trying to push things into the face of people and saying that we are a bigger brand. Vis-a-vis a status or a Facebook post where you are trying to, give food or offer something which is valuable to a poor person. Now, that is a pull factor where people would be looking forward to learn from you and sort of understand that yes, you seem to be a genuine person who's trying to help. Now, it may go, other way around because a lot of people are doing it deliberately to showcase that. But what I'm trying to share here is that in the difference of what we should be doing, we should understand the difference between proposing things vis-a-vis difference between reflecting things. So when we propose, when we share, when we put, this is a push factor. But when we want people to look into the way we are and realize us, our character, our ability, our motive, our objectives, that is what's called a pull factor. And this is what called a brand value. That means what value you have as a brand. Who are you? Why should I trust you? What is the kind of credibility that you carry? What is the kind of intelligence that you have? How intellectually you are sound? All that comes as a brand value only through pull factor and not push factor. So please remember, brand is something which is reflective in nature. People would perceive on their own. You don't have to push it for them to look into it. Okay. So it's an intrinsic character of a person. And everything which is a brand, if you see, this is a small, simple cycle that I'm trying to share here with you. When your brand values are expressed, when your brand values are sort of dealt, there you see that now every important activity which you are doing in the public domain or maybe in your corporate domain, is going to be influenced by those set of values, which we call it in our language thematic interpretation. And when this thematic interpretation continues to grow, it gives you some insightful understanding of how to action yourself, how to conduct yourself in the domain where you exist, so that people can continue to have the same reflection of the brand values you ideally possess. Okay, so this is the cycle that we are going to discuss today. So now I will quickly let you know the very essence of what a brand is. And when I say this, I owe a lot of teaching to my mentors, and I must experience this, that one of my senior mentors at that point in time, when I was working into the marketing team or into marketing domain, had given me a very specific understanding of how we should be doing it. Now, I'm not here a marketing expert, I'm not here a branding expert, but what I'm trying to share with you is that we should be understanding the value and the impact, how what communication can bring in the brand value that you're trying to create, as a matter of reflection in the perseverance, I mean, in the perceivable index of people. Perceivable index means what people can think, see, feel, and believe, rather than what they're being pushed to look into and then believe. Because what they've been pushed into and believe may not continue to bring more brand value. It will have a certain expiry date, and most probably 99% of the times it is going to be I mean, it is going to sort of build an additional burden for you, because it might go against, it may backfire. So 99% of the times, go with the possibilities which are subtle but effective and sustainable in a longer run. So keeping the approach that I discussed, now I'm moving to the methodology. So please understand that every person who's trying to build a brand has certain methodology, has certain approach that he or she should be taking into account. And what are those? I'm going to discuss this today. So this is called a brand identity prism. Now, what it is, I'll help you understand. So every prism that you look into, you know, has a certain set of lights which are encountered upon the surface, but those are directed and focused at one single point. Now, what I'm trying to refer by giving you this example of a prism is, that is what is going to happen to you as a personality, as you as a character, and you as a brand, if at all people are going to look you from different angles, right? So you have to act as a prism, where you put everything to one simple brand of you as a person, or brand yourself, so that people are able to reflect through and build that kind of credibility around and of you as a brand. Okay. So if you see on the left hand side, we are going to talk about the externalization element. And on the right hand side, we are going to talk about the internalization element. This is a very good enhancement tool, or a very good equipment to quickly help yourself brand a bit. But the fact of the matter is, as we have paucity of time, we have 15-20 minutes to explain it max. So I would refrain myself from getting into the details. Rather, I would like to give you the basic structure of things which will help you to initiate your thought process around this. And then, it's a common concept which you could find online also. Now, I would like to tell you the first part, which is the externalization part, and you have to understand what is externalization. Now, externalization has three important elements. Number one is physique, number two is relationship, and number three is reflection, right? So, first of all, what we have to understand is that in majority of the cases, what people are trying to think you are when they associate with you is called externalization. So when I personally look into the physique of that person, uh, what is the kind of uh, attributes I'm referring to? For example, if I come to you as a trainer, my physique should look intellectual, right? I shouldn't be wearing shabby clothes. I shouldn't be engaging into some sort of unconditional way of dressing, or maybe the way that I possess my physical attributes, which is my facial expressions, my face, my hairs. Everything should go in the or align myself into a direction where the possibility of people believing in me from that figure, face, or the appearance should be around the intellectual attribute that I'm trying to share with them. So, reflection would be the intellectual uh, capital that I have. Rather, my physique should also align itself. Similarly, in terms of relationship, right? I discuss about topics, I discuss about different uh, genres of communication, and I discuss about various concepts and new understanding of things. That is the kind of uh, topics I should be discussing with. That is the kind of association I should have it. And moreover, I should be a great believer of knowledge and information, because that's what the industry I belong to, right? So if my relationship with the conceptual understanding of things, with my profession, is not uh, in the line of how it should be, a lot of people will not consider me credible enough to consider or to believe into the brand I am. And finally, when people uh, view me, you know, and they consider me as my learner or my student, or for that matter, somebody who's associated to me, what do they think about themselves, right? So if they are thinking that yes, this is what is going to empower me, this is what is something which is a value adding altogether, and if I associate myself with this brand, this is going to bring a certain attribute within myself which will be valued in the eye of people. That is what, a lot of times we see that builds a character or a brand which is going to last for a longer duration of time. Somebody joined in, so let me just check. Okay, he has already joined in. So externalization is something which you have to understand, that what people see and look, and this is what you have to build. For example, if you consider a big brand, they will always be very particular about the way you think. Now when I say externalization, I would want you to show or give you a clear picture of what it stands. So let me give you a brand identity prism of an IT industry. My humble request to you is, please don't look at the right hand side, because that is going to confuse you. Because I wish to give you an understanding of both externalization and internalization, but I wanted to give you the externalization first, because externalization is going to be something which is even more critical than internalization. So, therefore, my humble request is, don't look at the right hand side, keep yourself on the left hand side. First, understand this. And it's also my, I mean, I can't give you the entire concepts in one go, because that will be a little confusing. Hence, I'll take up one thing at a time. So if you see on the left hand side, this is a brand identity prism of Indian IT industry, right? What do people think about Indian industry? It's a mammoth, ubiquitous. That means everywhere, it is something which is of higher and bigger in nature. Body shop. Body shop means, when you go to a automobile industry, there is a body shop where everybody's uh, doing the metallurgy stuff. They are putting things into them. There is a lot of welding which is going on here and there. So it is big mammoth, lot of tasks going on. Everybody is just like, trying to uh, you know uh, be a part of something which is happening. So its physique is extremely uh, in line with what Indian IT industry is, which is they do a lot of work. So their physique is just like a person or a in the process of impersonalizing with the brand, somebody who could possibly look like a big kind of a factory or a machine where a lot of these stuffs are going on. Okay, so that is the physique that we generally carry of Indian IT industry in our mind. So when I see relationship means if I associate and if I see the possible areas of association of that brand as with others or with me is in a role of a partner, in a role of an enabler, somebody who could get the things done for me, right? So, uh, I always give an example like in India, the passport was one of the major challenge to make for a normal human being. And trust me, this also gives, I mean, at the same point in time, is very, very critical uh, to the government because, the criminals should not be leaving the country by any chance. So at any given point in time, it was very, uh, I mean, cumbersome task, yet very important. So almost it used to take 1 month, 1.5 month, 2 months, sometimes even 3 months to get a passport. And you can very well understand person who is trying to travel can't plan that before. But the way Tata consultancy services has completely transformed the process, it is a clear example of enabler, right? Or for that matter, the way India has progressed in terms of healthcare equipments and technology infrastructure in healthcare is something which is fueled by technology, which is a lifeline. Now, every single person has a smartwatch which can probably guide him or make sure that when he has an overshooting pulse or a blood pressure, he's immediately guided. So, a lot of times technology is powering, is enabling such activities within our personal and professional life, which gives it a relationship or in the role of an enabler or a lifeline. So that's what we think of Indian IT industry. And finally, in the process of reflection, if I associate myself, for example, if I'm in US or in France or in Japan, and I'm an IT expert and I'm representing an organization and I go, what will I perceive of me? What, in the eye of people would be somebody who's a global citizen. Now, I know the know-hows of how databases work, what sort of possibilities are there in terms of AI, artificial intelligence, data engineering, big data, machine learning. So I consider myself global. I know that by any chance, any software organization in India can certainly make a wonderful software within a few months, which probably people would, strive for in the foreign countries because they don't have that kind of a talent. Value creator. Now, value creator means somebody who could really create a lot of value in the eye of people, and this is what is happening, right? Whether it's the US Army, whether it's the entire hospital and infrastructure related to healthcare, whether it's judiciary, everywhere you will find Indian IT industry trying to help people. So they are creating a lot of values. They are bringing a lot of things to the people. And if you try and visualize what shall be the face, Indian IT industry is faceless, right? So majority of times people think Indian industry is more of South Indian people, so it should look like a little dark. No, but if you really visualize, it should be faceless because ideally IT is for all, right? We are the enabler, but at the same point in time, we do not have a face for people to refer to. So this is the externalization. So please understand something. So in your own way, when you communicate, when you deal, when you bring this, you have to bring these set of values to build your own brand. And if you do that, trust me, it works. And when you go along, you will see people valuing you only because of the externalization part. Okay. Now coming back to the internalization. We have just 5 minutes, so I'll try and complete that also. So, in terms of internalization, where I'm referring to is a somebody, I mean, your personality, character, and attitude. Now, this is something which you would have to bring in yourself in order to look like what externalization should be guiding you for, right? So, what shall be your character and attitude? Your character and attitude, in this case, to look, look like, or maybe in the case of IT industry, is something which I will try to point out is somebody who's intelligent, who's innovative, who is dynamic, who is aggressive. Now consider yourself as somebody who is working in a body shop, who is, you know, denting the metal, who's doing all the stuff on his own, very aggressive, very, uh, highly physical functions that you are doing. So this sort of creates a personality, and you have to behave in that level for people to believe in you that yes, you are somebody who is mammoth, who sort of works in a body shop, and so on and so forth. So in each, so something that you have to do. Similarly, the set of values that you have is what you need to bring as a part of the culture. So set of values is different from your character. Character is something which you have to consistently doing. Values is something that you value is the outcome, and character and attitude is the process. So only when you follow the process, the outcome is going to come. So don't confuse between the two. Okay. So what is the culture? Culture is that if I continue to embrace all the opportunities, everybody, I'm global, right? I do not distinguish between what is a Latin American or an American or an African or so on. So for me, everybody is equal. So I'm global. Sincerity, that means I would want to bring that whatever I function, wherever I function, whatever I do, it's with utmost sincerity and deliberation that I do. And finally, delivery. Delivery is not what you get in your house. Delivery is delivery of your tasks, right? I put things into the right frame of reference and do not exceed my ETA, and I deliver the complete thing on time. So completeness, relevance, and timelines are followed. And self-image is the customer's view of self as user of the brand. Now, here what if I'm using IT industry, if I'm a part of IT industry, how should I be seeing myself, and what should I be feeling that if I'm using this, who I am? So first of all, the entire world knows India because of IT. So I'm a brand ambassador. I'm something where a lot of people depends, right? So I'll just give you an example. When this COVID was at its peak, uh, a lot of engineers who were outsourced by US firms went to one work from home. Now, uh, during that time, US was not experiencing the kind of wave. I mean, the second wave that happened, the first wave that happened, where we were not prepared. So it was they knew that yes, there has been a significant amount of uh, spread of COVID which has happened. People can't work now. Even during that time, India went ahead and sort of you know kept the ball rolling, and never ever so happened that any IT industry or any company which was engaged into some important work have ever said no to other countries during that time. So which was a clear indication that these guys were really dependable, and we have some international standards to follow. So I mean, in an unprecedented situation like COVID, which we have never experienced, if we have relayed, if we have expressed, if we have uh, reflected that kind of culture or that kind of attitude, this shows that we are international and dependable and ahead of the curve, right? So if I associate myself with Indian IT industry, this is what I should be feeling, right? So if you really see, this is what the brand is going to be. And when I see the brand values, thematic interpretation, and insights, at last I would try to share that how you will be externalizing with the brand. Only when you try and read about the brand, only when you try and see through a videos, understand what the brand has to offer. A lot of you might not know what Nike right sign denotes. A lot of you might not know why Adidas is so much, into sports, or why they have not ventured into other areas. Why Mercedes has this logo where the angle of all the three, I mean, as uh, the 3 points or the angle between the three pillars in the logo are equal. So, a lot of times when we associate with ourselves with such brands, we need to understand. So, where this is going to come from through the process of interaction and communication. Similarly, how are you going to show your brand values? How are you going to reflect? How are you going to show the culture? It's only through the process of communication. So please understand that brand is only a possibility when your communication is strong. If your communication is not strong, your brand value may not may not be expressed in the right way. So if brand is your character, its body is communication. If brand is your place to sit in a car, the engine is communication. If brand is you know uh, a process, the distribution channel, or the process, I mean the distribution possibility is communication. So communication is very, very important in showcasing what you are as a brand. And therefore, we always suggest that if you are a corporate person, if you are a person who is looking forward to go into executive leadership, these are the possibilities that you should inculcate from day one to avoid any conflicts in the future, and also utilize the possibility of using communication in your favor much early than before, to sort of take a leap or leverage the power of communication. So, with this note, I thank each one of you for joining us for a wonderful session today. And we will continue to make this session to make you guys understand the power of communication. So, thank you once again for your valuable time. And if any given point in time there are any suggestions, any values that you wish to share with us, we'll be more than willing to do that. So, thanks again for your valuable time. We really appreciate that. And we will continue to make such wonderful sessions going forward. Thank you. Bye bye.